Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Glad you made it. It's another social production. That's right. We're doing it on Wednesday, May the 20th, 2026. Thank you for joining me once again. If you're just tuning in for the first time, buckle up, buckle down. Wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Canada, further down south, the United States of the Americas, further down south, Mexico, further down south than that, South Americas, all the way, South Pole, North Pole, over there in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, all of it too, all the way from the east to the west, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia's, of course, in a boat, in a tugboat, motorboating on a tugboat, in a submarine, in a spacecraft, in a flying jet, in a supersonic, you're breaking the sound barrier. You're going deaf, you're bleeding from your ears. Your woman is menstruating and it's not even that time of the year. Welcome back, glad you made it, thank you. If you've been with me from the beginning, thank you for all the love and support, sending it right back to you wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Let us begin and have the funds that we will have together. Let me just get a sip of this, hold on a sec. Just get it. Just a little sippy poo for the old throaty throat. Well, we're here again, once again. We're doing it once again. It's Wednesday. That's the middle of the week. Sort of, kind of. It's Wednesday and we're not here Thursday, but nonetheless, we're here because it's the middle of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a sip of this and dive right into it, please, if we may, together, if I may. What's been going on, Wagwan, mi familias, all around the world, lots of exciting events, thoughts and takes on events and things that are happening in and around the world. Italy, or rather the Maldives. Let's jump right into it. Let's dive in. Grab your swimsuits, grab your fins, grab your snorkeling gear, grab your goggles, grab your shave before you get inside the wetsuit and spit inside of the wetsuit because it's easier to get inside. As a matter of fact, pro tip, spitting inside the wetsuit does allow you to insert yourself much easier, but works even better is either jism or female squirt juice. Pro tip, female squirt juice inside the wetsuit, you slip right into it. Or go ahead, try it the old-fashioned way. Try to slide into that thing without any spit or jizz. So, nonetheless, 5 Italian. They weren't divers. Like they dove. They definitely dove. They were tourists for sure. They were touristing in the Maldives. I think they were sent there on behalf of a university. I'm not sure. The Italian university. That sounded Jamaican. Maybe you don't know. Maybe they were half Jamaican, half Italian. They weren't. They were full blown, 100% Italian. We gotta go to the diving, mama, and we gotta go to the diving. Yes, there it is. We gotta go to the diving. We gotta go see the deep cave where the shark is. You can sound a little bit more just shark. Sounds like a gay pirate. That's like a little bit, 20% Jamaican, but also 15% gay. Gotta get to the where are the caves at? Where are the caves at that sound? It doesn't matter. All the accents are jumbled up together. It doesn't matter. Let's just get right into it, please. Let us not lose focus. Focus, please. 5 Italians decided to go to the Maldives to deep dive into the depths of the ocean, somewhere in the waters. And take a look at some caves where sharks were dwelling, and and I don't know what happened, but this is exactly why we're talking about it. Something happened, something went awry. These 5 tourist divers, went ahead and dove, and they ended up dying. And then somebody else from the Maldives, a professional, dove in to rescue them, and then they died. He died. She died. I'm not quite sure if it was a he or I'm not using the they. I'm not a they them. Just saying. I don't know who but I think it was a he. I'm gonna go with a male diver, professional elite diver, went in to save them, and he died too. But then later people sent in more crews. One of them was already, he floated on top, so they found the body of that one. So one of the 5 bodies was already, discovered. The rest of the 4 remaining ones had to do deep diving. It took a few days. And I just wanted to put it out there. If you happen to die in diving accidents, all right, and you happen to go into the water and you drown in there, question for the gang, do we need to do rescue? Because another person did die. If they're dead, and there's all this talk of where are we putting all the dead people anyway in the world? There's only so much land, but we keep having dead people. If somebody happens to, they want to merge with the, aquamarine. If you want to go, fucking splish splash sploosh, and maybe you see a mermaid, maybe you see maybe you see some female, large half female, half fish, and then it's got like a clam, but it's a puss. It's a hard shell puss, and you're like, I want to make it with that hard shell puss, half female, half fish, and you do, and then you end up dying. Should we rescue people in the oceans, in the water? I'm just, what's the point? Just putting it out there, just putting it, and again, cost of burying people is not, it's high, it's up there. So if nature takes care of it, that's the question. It doesn't even matter if it's water or the forest, or, if nature takes care of it, should we go and rescue people and then have somebody else die in the midst of it? I don't know what happened. I think they were not supposed to dive as deep, and that's always the case. But once you get 5 beautiful Italians, and I'm talking probably like half female crew, half male crew, which again, you can't, it's an odd number, so it's probably 3 females and 2 males, or 2 females and 3. I don't know the ratio of the male to, but it was 5 hot Italians. I don't even know if they were hot, to be honest with you. For the sake of the story, let's just imagine 5 hot Italians. We get the permit, we go to the diving. I don't know why it's sounding more Jamaican. We go to the diving, man. You know what? They spent a lot of time studying abroad in Jamaica, and that's where they picked up their Jamaican accent. We go to the diving, man. We be Italian, we be Itai, but we go to the diving where the sharks be residing, man. Yeah, everything Irie until everything not Irie, until they decide to go a little bit further than they were supposed to. I'm not sure how deep they were supposed to dive, but they were only like permitted to dive like maybe 30 meters, or I don't know, 30 feet. I don't know the depths. I don't know the details. That's what's fun about it. But they dove further than that, because I bet somebody down there was, just being full-blown hot Italian, eating hot chick Italian, eating fucking lasagna under the sea, eating a slice of pizza, and an Italian fella is like, oh, we should, Maria, we should probably go dive a little bit more further down. He said that. What's his name? The fucking Sergio. Sergio's like, we should go, Maria, we should go dive a little bit more. And Maria's tits were voluptuous, perky tits. And she's like, are you sure about this, Sergio? I'm not sure if we should. And Sergio's like, don't worry about it. We don't have the permits. Again, Jamaicans have spent a lot of time in Jamaica. Mama, I want to go to the diving. I want to go to the diving where the sharks are. I want to go to the diving where the sharks are. Again, sounds more Jamaican than Italian, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's just take a dive. And he went down there and he's like, we can go deeper. We can go deeper than 30 meters or 50 meters. And they went deeper. And next thing you know, a shark comes out of nowhere and chomps on his arm. And he's like, Mama always told me about the sharks that be chomping on your arms. And don't worry about it. I got my other arm. Boom. There you go. Another bite. And there goes both his arms. But luckily, he still had his legs, which was nice. And Italians, they don't even need arms. They don't even need arms. He was bleeding profusely. But nonetheless, with his pasta intact and his oxygen, well above the, recommended levels, and the oxygen in his tank was, he had plenty of oxygen. So that wasn't a worry. That was not a point of concern. And then Maria probably panicked, because that's what happens. You take it, that's what happens. You're like, I'll take a few bitches on the yacht. It's gonna be fun. As long as you keep them above, on deck. And on deck bitches, yes. A bit below the water, if you go past, 10 meters, 20 feet, that's where bitches just start, oh, I'm so free. I'm a mermaid now. Next thing you know, Sergio's already bleeding, so she's like, yeah, let me just start my early, I'm premenopause or whatever. She starts bleeding profusely as well, and that's when too many sharks got in the water. It was a shark cave. So I'm not surprised about that. But they ended up all dying, and it sucks. But at the same rate, we do need people to explore the depths of the ocean. So I'm here for it. Moral of the story: if they tell you to don't dive within a certain amount, stick with it. Be safe. If it says 50 meters, just stick with 50 meters. And I guess we're never going to find out what's in the depths of the ocean then, aren't we? So we're going to have some, I'm not telling you to break the rules. but also I'm glad that people take the risks. And it's unfortunate that people died this time, but next time we might actually go inside those caves and find it. Who knows what these sharks are doing in a cave? Maybe playing friggin' cards. Maybe they're playing cards. Maybe they're smoking hookah. Maybe they're maybe it's a massage parlor for sharks. Maybe it's a it's a rub and tug for sharks, and we wouldn't ever find that out until we get to the depths of the ocean and go into these caves even further below, even deeper than you ever imagined. So that's a little bit of the eye ties. Love my Italians. Keep diving. Shout out to the Maldives. This could have happened to the best of us. No one should be held accountable, of course. And there you go. We found out absolutely nothing from this research dive. So keep diving then. Please. This one breaks my heart just because I don't believe it. I've heard of it. It's they call it the toughest marathon. The toughest marathon in the world. Apparently it's held in China. And that's one of the reasons, that's where my sus antennas go up, and I'm like, before you go putting labels on things and calling it the toughest, let's just look the origin of this bad boy. Where did it even come from? Who made this marathon? Wuhan? It's called the Great Walled Marathon. It should be the Great Wuhan Marathon. That's what it should be called. It's more catchy. But apparently 1,500 runners from around the world, from like 50 countries, go every year. This was the 23rd one. They go in and around the wall, and they run up and down, and then it's tough. I don't know what makes it particularly the toughest. It's the same length as a regular marathon. But it's in China, so I suppose maybe there's like elderly Chinese women throwing hot soup in your face when you're running up and down the wall. Maybe that's what they're doing. Probably explains the toughness. Maybe there's like old Chinese masters who are sitting, crouching, and you're like, what is that? Is that a rock? Is that a tree? No, it's just an old man. What's he got in his hand? It's a blow dart right there. Oh, in the neck. You're succumbing to the poison from the frog he extracted earlier that morning, and you're going numb below the neck, so you drop dead. Not physically dead, but not like dead, but physically disabled. You're like a handicap. You're a cripple. You're a crip. That's what you are. You're a cripple. You're a handicap. All right? And you can't finish the race, and that's why it's called the toughest race. There's Chinese children in the streets jabbing you with friggin' chopsticks. That's probably what, a portion of what makes it hard is the Chinese kids are jabbing you, stabbing. It's difficult. Try to run up and down the wall with Chinese kids stabbing you with chopsticks. Try that. It's very difficult. There's beautiful Chinese, and you're like, what is that? It's like 20 of them under a giant, dragon thing. They're doing away with a dragon. It's like a show. What is that? And they lift up and then they toss the dragon, costume above their head, and then just kind of tickle you, and then that makes it more difficult because you're running and you're thirsty too. You're running and you're thirsty, and these guys drop their dragon, the mascot, and they're tickling you, and it's very difficult to finish the race. That's probably one of the reasons that it's called the toughest race. I don't believe it though. I think we could, first and foremost, on marathons. Let's end it, please. Let's end all marathons for the It's 2026. Certain things, we did it. We did it once. The first guy to run it did it, all right, and then people followed, and it's enough. People should only run individually, or no more than groups of 3. 5 is my maximum limit. I'm not budging beyond 5 people running together simultaneously. Anything above that is, if you want to just start the cult already. Just start the cult. You don't need to do all this hoopla and let's do a marathon every year, every city all around the world. People have marathons. And it's always to raise money for some. Just raise the money. Just raise them. Why do we need to, block many streets, tens of kilometers, to cause traffic just because, we got to do the marathon. We got to prep for the marathon. And then you got to prep for the marathon. It's not even just the marathon. It's so you got to prep for the marathon. Half the year, you're prepping for the marathon. The marathon comes, and all of a sudden you think you're some sort of athlete. You're not. You're just, it's just running. It's just disgusting running. People need to quit it. Running is for children. It's for females. and that's still up until a certain age as well. And I'll leave it, I'll leave it a little bit for, just, you know what I'm talking about. If you got a little bit of that, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a little bit zesty, if you're a little bit, you know what I'm talking about. That's who running is for. So it should be for everybody else. Please, just quit running together in groups. Achieve, just raise the money for what we're gonna run to raise the money for cancer. If we can't raise the money for cancer, then maybe we shouldn't, without running, then maybe we shouldn't even raise the money for cancer. Maybe that's what's wrong with us, because we need to run to get that's probably what's holding us back, right? Because we gotta do a run to raise the money for the cancer. We gotta raise money for this. There's a pubic hair deficit in South, wherever the fuck. You're like, why can't we just raise the money for the pubic hairs in South, wherever the fuck, without running in a marathon? We gotta shut down the traffic. We gotta close down the city. Because people gotta, it's important that we raise money for the pubic hair deficit people. It's like, I get it, and that's a cause close to my heart as well, but good. Let's just raise the money, please. Get rid of marathons. It's a gateway drug to gang affiliation. It's you want to wreck your home, go ahead and run a marathon. Talk about it with your friend. Get your friends involved and see how quickly your friendships unravel. Run a marathon. Go ahead, do it. It's random people's last grasp at thinking that they're still athletes. You're not, okay? If you're not getting paid millions and billions of dollars, you're not. Quit running around, please. Do run around the block like a gentleman or like a lady, and then cut it out. The rest of it is just too much. It's too much. How many kilometers do you need to run to you? Who are you proving what to? All right, let's just cut it out. It's not good for anybody. With the tank tops and the short shorts and the running gear, it's just too much. Cut it out, please. You're not gonna make a difference. French police went ahead and warned the French, because that's what the French do. They warned the French because there's a French deer apparently that's drunk off of fermented fruit in France. I don't know which location, but I'm gonna go ahead and say all the people in France need to be extremely cautious. You have been warned. This deer has again consumed fermented fruit, has gotten drunk, and what followed after may shock some viewers. Thank you for joining me back. What followed after may shock some viewers. If you're just tuning in right now, we were just talking about how a French deer consumed fermented fruit and is running wild in France. Apparently, it started early in the morning, and it was just an innocent little, nibble of the old fermented fruit. Next thing you know, it's noon, and the French deer is drunk and decides to go downtown. He popped into a little burlesque show, which was not good enough. By 2:30, it's been rumored that he went into strip clubs and threw money at bitches who are stripping, and it was awkward for the bitches too, because they're like, clearly it says, nothing lower than $5 bills, and then the deer was just tossing singles, which was not cool. But what's shocking is that the deer got other animals involved. Started talking to the other animals, we should all drink, and all the animals got drunk, and they started all just going to the strip club, getting paying hookers for lap dances, and a lot of them got sucky and sloppy toppies under the table. Some of them went into the into the boom boom room, and that's fine and all. That's because that's the establishment. But what's crazy is that they stepped out and they didn't stop their drunken behavior. They continued to eat the fermented fruit and get even more intoxicated. So then they started they started dance, like pole dancing on city poles, on light poles in the streets. And children, you could still hear them screaming in French, "Oh, maman, why is that deer doing the dancing on the pole?" And then the French mother would have to cover the babe's eyes to protect him. And don't worry about it. It's just we're almost home, sweetheart. We're almost Jean-Claude. We're almost home. You're gonna be ready for your nap. But the damage was already done. The deer ran rampant all around the city, causing dumpster fires, starting riots, chanting anarchy up and down the streets. Vive la France, they said in French. The French deer also went home extremely late, and their wives were concerned because they could see kissy marks on their white collared shirts, and the French female deer asked the male deer who was drunk on the fermented fruit, where were you? And the male deer who was drunk was all like, I don't need to explain to you. I'm French. Look, I'm French. And I'm a deer. Oh, baby. And disregarded his wife's concerns and went into his room and jerked off and came back out and beat his wife. And that's crazy because the children saw it and the children were scared of their father, of their French deer father who drank too much. And this has just been a warning to all the French people in France. Please be careful if you see the French deer who's drunk on fermented fruit. Just ignore it. Do not make any eye contact. And if you do see something, say something. Report it to animal control, and we'll get a good handle on this together. But I do want to make sure you're safe and sound. Ooh, I'm gonna go gambling because I'm a French deer. I've been drunk. Look at me. I'm Jean-Claude. Everybody likes a good product, and I'm glad that this has happened. If you're in the New York area and other places in the world as well, maybe you've been impacted by this. It's a product that this podcast could be easily sponsored by. It's called S-Watch or Swatches, Swatch watches. I think they're Swiss-made watches, and they were doing a collab, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't read too much into it, to be honest with you, but they dropped a new product, and swarms of people just went into New York, Soho area. I say that, I have no idea what that means. Soho means nothing to me. I think it's an area in New York, but I'm gonna say with my chest out like I know what it is. Soho, then there's the famous Soho neighborhood in New York. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, fucking get to know it already. It's the Soho neighborhood that's home to many places, amongst which is the Swatch shop that was dropping this new collab between Swatch and, guess what? I don't know who the other collaborator is, but this watch it's a great watch. It's for watch lovers. It's for people who desire to control time. It's for people who want to space travel. People swarmed in and it caused chaos, and then they had to shut it. They had to shut down the store. That's how good this watch is. All right, people are like, oh, I've been here. So I left my wife and children for this. People said that. I've been here for like 3 years, man. Somebody said this. Somebody was, there was a manhole. A woman who fell down a manhole apparently and died was because somebody was allegedly hiding in the manhole, waiting to get a sweet spot in the Soho neighborhood so he can pounce on the Swatch watches. I'm not quite sure if it was like, I didn't read into that story either. I just heard a woman die from falling into manholes. This is why it's men's spaces and women's spaces. If it's, stick to your own. That's what I say. And this is where society's, you could see it if we're not careful. This is how society falls apart, because we're like, oh, men can play it fast and loose with their holes. Open it up. Next thing you know, it's too wide open. Woman falls down a manhole, dies. So please cover your manhole. Back to the Swatch story. That's right. This watch is crazy. This watch is so good. It's not too expensive, but still, like, you can make bank on it if you get it early. You can sell it. And what comes with it is the remarkable aspects of this watch, because not only does it tell time, but it like makes you, if you're a male, it makes your dick grow like 2 inches every other day, and whenever you take it off, it'll stop. So, and that's crazy. That's because no other watch has done this. 2 inches every other day. And if you're a female, it makes your puss, it makes it tighter, so much tighter. Women who have already got a hold of the watch have said that their pussies has tightened up by 300x. It actually shattered their lovers' penises, which is no problem, because they've got a pair of the watch too. They got like lovers. Both of them got the watch, so the male can now regrow his penis that fell off because of the tightness of the puss. So be careful how you use it. It's just a great watch. It's got a laser pointer in it. You can point a laser at things. You can burn things up. From if it's like a mysterious drone that you don't know where it came from, fucking zap it right there. The Swatch watch will take care of it. It detects terrorisms right there. It's like, what time is it? It's like, it's regular, it's 12:47. What is that? Terrorist alert right there. It detects it. It makes you have like a better, it just makes you walk a little bit, just with more, just a little bit of, it gives you that extra little, pep in your step. It makes you richer. This watch makes you richer. You put this watch on and people, you like, not really, not in the sense of like physical money in your pocket, but it gives off the image of, man, this guy's got money, or this gal's got money, not like crazy money, but like enough money, good enough, and that attracts more money. So you wear this watch, and money, it's moral of the story, you wear this watch, money gets attracted to you, and money, let your money work for you. Wear this watch, let your money work for you, please. I've always said that from the beginning, let your money work for, why would you want to work when your money can work for you? Please. Buy this watch. It restores male pattern baldness and women with alopecia as well. This is, this can, I believe it actually cured AIDS. People who have had AIDS put this watch on and their AIDS just falls off on the, we saw a few AIDS just falling off people's bodies and just like screaming, oh, we're AIDS, we don't know what to do, we've just fallen off this guy's body because he put on a Swatch watch. It restored women's uteruses, the ones with some of them have cysts, and they put the watch on, cysts also fell off. Both, you could see the cysts running with the AIDS down the street. And that's the Swatch watch. That's why everybody was like, we got to get it. If you're like, man, why do people want to get this watch? Like, I guess you don't want your cyst to fall off, sister. I guess you want to just hold on to your cyst and complain about not having a baby for life, dude. So get that watch. This show's not currently sponsored by Swatch watches, but it could easily be brought to you by Swatch watches. It also ends world hunger, believe it or not. The quicker you get this watch, world hunger fucking ends. You're like, I don't know how I feel about it. Then I guess you like world hunger then. I guess you're that son of a bitch that likes world hunger. There you go. Get the Swatch watch, please. This next story is about us trying to take control of narratives, and you got to go with the thing that happens. You can't control certain things, but when it does happen, you can't let a good story go to waste. What am I talking about? I'm glad you asked. There's 2 fighter jets. And again, breaks my heart because it's like a missed opportunity. We could have come out with this, but it's still not too late. I say it's still not too late. 2 fighter jets collided at an air show in Idaho. Miraculously, all 4 pilots ejected simultaneously, and none of them died, which is excellent. People were like, oh no, 2 fighter jets collided, fucking glass half empty these people are. You should look at this story and say, my goodness, best air show ever. First of all, best, because what happens at most air shows? Typically speaking, not a lot. Like the jets get up there, they do the loop-de-loops, everybody, flies safely. There's some accidents here and again, every once in a while, of course, there's accidents, some people do die. But most of the time, the air shows go, smoothly, and nobody gets hurt, nothing happens. But this time, the jets collided, they exploded midair. But this miracle that these 4, not 3 out of 4, not like 2 out of 4, not 1 out of, all 4 pilots happen to eject and not die, which is wonderful. So we should just, wrap this story in a sense that, again, if something similar happens in the future, I want you to just own it, be like, we meant to do it. This was the best air show ever. We collided multi-million-dollar jets. We meant to do it. And then it looks like, say you meant to do it. Say, because what are the odds of the planes going belly to belly so that both of the, sets of pilots could eject safely? What a wonderful, that was the best air show ever. Best air show crash, at least. Again, spent a lot of money. The jets, because jets, you could always make jets and whatever. It's just, think of it as like you paid whatever, $15 to see the air show. Maybe you didn't even pay anything. Maybe you were just on the streets, happen to get a free show. $1 million, millions of dollars worth of jets exploded, 4 pilots safe and sound. This is what we do. We own this shit. This is Top Gun shit. This is what Tom Cruise, this was probably, one of them was probably Tom Cruise. This was Tom Cruise, and probably this is typical Iceman, typical fucking goose, just fucking icing and goosing, and just, we meant to do it. And this is what we're fucking capable of, god damn it. All right? This is what we do at air shows. It's what we do. And I'm sorry for all the military and the the naval jargon and the Air Force jargon. But when I get excited and when my blood gets pumping and I just go into that mode and we're talking, I'm like, because it just reignites stuff inside me that I don't, physically attain or mentally either. But like, somehow I feel a close kinship to these folks who go up in the sky and fly. They get high, really up in the sky, and they fucking get closest possible to the sun, and that's what it is. That's fucking, that's Mach talk right there. How much Mach can you take? Because our pilots can take, we be in there, not me personally, but we collectively be in there, be in the cockpit, talk about Mach. How much Mach can you take? Oh, I can take 1 Mach at least. Bro, how much Mach can you take? I can take 2 Machs. I just did 2 Machs this morning. Oh, can I see your 2 Machs? I raise you 3 Machs. And we keep banging on and we build on the Machs until somebody says, how many Machs can you do? I'm at 27 Machs, bro. And they're just drooling, fucking from their mouth and maybe bleeding from their tits. But nonetheless, what do? We Mach talk. Get the Mach. So that's, again, just reframing the story. It could have been a way better way we handled the story. We meant to do it. It was a great, probably the best crash ever. All the 4 pilots are safe and sound, back with their families, doing Mach talks with their young children who grow up to be pilots. Different pilots, not the same, because then a lot of tech would take over, but nonetheless, still pilots. You know what? The chances of 4 people ejecting when oh, come on, that's the best fucking crash. I don't care what you say. That's the best. All 4 of them survived. You know how fucking good you'd have to be at ejecting? We practice ejecting at Mach school. This is Mach 47 today. We're focusing on ejecting. Then you just sit down for hours on end just fucking ejecting, And some people, they're like, oh, anybody could eject. No, not anybody could eject, dog. It's not easy to eject. Nonetheless, a lot of people are concerned. I'm just here to let you know you shouldn't be. There have been people concerned about, oh, I go to the sauna every once in a while. Should I be worried about my low sperm count? Am I going to get a low sperm count in the saunas too? And they did a lot of research on this. Apparently, for the most part, this is how it works. I read this. Apparently, if you're just like a regular person who does the sauna every once in a while, heat does impact sperm count, but it's not. If you're going every once in a while, you're good. Don't worry about it. If you're going frequently, like every day sauna, but if you're like a regular person with regular sperm count, it does impact it, but not so much, because guess what? Men are made of jizz. No, men are 75% jizz. There you go. So yeah, you might lose a few soldiers in your sack, but you'll produce so much more, so you'll be good. The people who should worry are people with already, like, if you know yourself, if you're that low T fella, you know what I'm talking about? If you're sucking on soybeans and drinking, fake milk and not eating meat or whatever, and, fucking doing too many marathons, and then you go into the sauna, and if you're already, experiencing low, you're probably going to get low T. But I figured a way to counter all of this for everybody, no matter if you're like a regular person with normal T levels and you're like, I still want a sauna. I don't want to take a risk of even losing 1 single cell of the jizz. Or if you're like mid-level T and jizz guy, or, low-level T and jizz guy, I got you covered, son. I got you covered, because I thought about this. Over the weekend, I sat down, like, how do I ensure that my men's out there, which impact the female populace as well, basically the whole world. How do I help the whole world? Lord, just give me a sign. Just let me do the work. And the answer came. I didn't do this. I had nothing to do with it. I said, what are people, I broke it down, I unpacked it. What are people afraid of? Low sperm count, low jizz in the sauna. How do we counter that? I asked myself, nobody was there. So I asked them, I'm like, how do I counter that? And I said, you know what, where there is low jizz, increase the amount of jizz. It's as simple as that. And the answer was right in front of me, because I had just jerked off and there was jizz on my belly. So I'm like, if people are concerned about low jizz in the sauna, all we need to do is supplement the low amount of jizz. So the next time you go to the sauna, fellas, go with a group of other men with you and take turns jizzing on one another, jizz on one another. So to supplement the low jizz. So if somebody's like deficient in your group, you jizz on him, and that's how you boost up his jizz levels, or like, you know, this sperm kiss. So he doesn't come out like he goes and let's say he goes and he walks into the sauna. You're like, oh man, we're all mid to high level T guys except fucking, you know, yeah, this guy over here, Steve over here has got low jizz levels. Oh, I guess, you know, that doesn't bode well for our group, but whatever, Steve, get in here, and there's like 5 of you. If you know Steve's fucking T deficient, dog, don't be one of these, like, you know, jizz hoarders. Share the jizz on Steve, and that way Steve can too sit there and be like, I'm not feeling like I have low sperm count on my body. I have a lot of sperm, and and you're like, but if it's not his, then it's doesn't count. And it's like, are we, you know, yeah, we can sit here and look at the, you know, try to dissect and see where the holes are. But I assure you, we all have the same number of holes. So get them covered in jizz, and let the overall average of jizz in the sperm room and the sauna room rise together. Let not one man's low T and jizz deficiency be the marker of our generation. There you go, sit on that and think about it next time, you know, with your high T and high jizz sitting in the sauna in a corner by yourself like a fucking, you know, jizz loner. Fucking share the jizz on Steve. Don't be a jizz hoarder. Now, a lot of people take the time, it's summertime, it's the time to maybe, if you can, take a little vacay. A lot of people are excited, you're like, oh, where am I gonna take a trip to? What do I need to do? This, that, and the other. Then you take care of everything. You pack your bags, you get your bathing suit, sometimes plural bathing suits, you mix and match, you know, double piece, single piece, you know, Speedo, trunks, whatever. You're like, oh, we're going to a nude beach, doesn't matter. Shorts, t-shirts, sandals, lube, plenty of condoms, or lack thereof. If you want to raw dog it, if you want to shit on your dick, you know what I'm talking about, anal. The point is that you're like, oh, I got everything I need. I'm just gonna travel, and everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Guess what? A Southern California woman thought the same thing. She was thinking of taking a trip, and she did. She went to Mexico, but guess what? She skipped on one thing, and the story that I'm about to tell you again may shock some viewers. She decided to go to Mexico, to somewhere in Mexico. I'm not sure who she went with, but it doesn't matter. She's like, you know what I'm gonna skip on? I'm gonna skip on traveler's insurance. That's right. I wanna just roll the dice and play my chances and roll the dice and play the cards I've been dealt with. And halfway through her trip, everything was going well. Mexico was doing Mexican stuff, and she was doing her stuff, and they were colliding, and experiences were being experienced. The sun was hitting her tits, both of them. The wind was in her eyes. The sand was sandy on the beach. The beach was filled with water, because that's typical of beaches. You could hear the screams and laughter and the sounds of joy. Ha ha ha! These were children who were also playing on the beach, having a great time with their families. And there was this SoCal girl in Mexico, but somewhere in her trip she decided to go, I think, on some sort of, you know, like an adventure, you know. I'm not sure what she was doing, maybe riding an ATV. Something happened, and she fell. And she broke almost, I'm not quite sure, allegedly, she damaged her body. She's basically fucking, you know, no good. She's damaged goods now. And she didn't have traveler's insurance. And she was laying there in Mexico. And guess what? Soon those sunny skies were filled with clouds, metaphorical clouds. For her, for the rest of the people, it was beautiful. For whoever had traveler's insurance, it was beautiful, gorgeous day. For those who didn't buy traveler's insurance, like this SoCal woman, things soon turned extremely dark, like pitch black. She couldn't even see anything. Maybe the fall broke her eyes at the same time. She's like, oh, where am I? Bitch, you're in Mexico. Quit pretending like you don't know where you are. Sure, you may have a broken back, but let's not pretend like you just forgot where you are. So stick with it. Now you need to pay up so we can fix you. And guess what? She didn't have that kind of money. It was like 20, 30 grand for her medical procedures down there. And she started to do things she never thought she'd do. She started making phone calls to people. And that's not even the worst of it. some of it went to voicemail. After that, things got even darker. Text messages were sent. Some people, of course, helped her with the money, but she also had to resort to things that she never thought she would have to do. Like, you're like, what did she do to get the money? Allegedly, I don't even know. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But let this be a lesson to anybody traveling out there who's refusing to get traveler's insurance because you think, I'm just gonna roll the dice like this SoCal woman, and unlike her, I'm not gonna get so unlucky. Well, guess what? She may have had to go downtown with her crippled body and be like, I'll do sloppy toppy for the, I'll do machismo sloppy toppy for my Viva la Razas down there. And she had to do sloppy toppy, and she had to get her back blown out even more so than she already had her back blown out, which sucks in those conditions because it's not pleasurable for the recipient of the, if you and you pay good money, you're like, this bitch has got a broken back, I can at least pay some money to her and brag to my friends that look what I did, I blew out her back, and she's all crippled, and you can actually point to something physical and tangible. But guess what? It's not as good because she's actually hurt. So the sounds she makes is it's not a turn. Try having a rock hard dick while somebody's in agony and pain. It's not easy, but you paid nonetheless. And she did all that. She did the sloppy toppy. She let a couple of kids ride her. She pretended to be a zoo animal. She had to become a drug mule for the cartel, for the Sinaloa, one of the cartels. She became a drug mule for the cartel. They shoved a whole bunch of cocaine in her puss, and it was broken too, so it was easy to jam it in there. But because she was so broken, it wasn't easy to get it out. So they had to cut her open. They had to cut her open to get the cocaines that they stuffed up her puss. And they muled her back and forth until millions of dollars of cocaine was just, and fentanyl too, that fucking fentanyl as well, I tell you, fentanyl, they muled her, they used her as a drug mule, and they put the fentanyl in her and just pushed her back and forth between the borders for like, I don't know how long, but enough time so that she'd have enough money to pay for her medical procedures. And eventually she's not like 100%, She'll get there, but all that to say, this isn't even about this bitch. This is not even about this particular lady. This is about you out there thinking to yourself, I'm not going to get medical or traveler's insurance. Don't if you don't, or do or don't. It's up to you. You're like, oh, I'll just roll the dice. It's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to be a drug mule for the cartel. You'd think that, wouldn't you? This, of course, ladies and gents, boys and girls, brings us to this particular story that has got me questioning many things. Should parents go to jail for their children's crimes? I believe there's been a recent rise of teen takeovers. I see this online, and the teenagers go into different parts of the city, whether it's a Chipotle in Washington or wherever else, and they cause a ruckus, and all of a sudden a whole gang of them shows up. Everybody's having a good time. Next thing you know, guns are going up in the air, knives are being whipped out, and it's all fucking knives and gun city, baby. It's pew pew slash slash. And so the authorities are now putting it out there that it might be time that we put away the criminals, the teenage criminals, in the jails and the prisons, along with their parentals. And that's a question I'll put up to the people of the world out there, all 8 billion people. Should parents do time with their criminal children? If you have a criminal child and they do happen to do crime, if they happen to go to jail by themselves, of course, if they go to I'm not quite sure how juvie is compared to regular jail or prison. Again, I have no first-hand experience, luckily, of any of these places. But, from the stories that you hear in jail and prison for adults, if you spend enough time in there, you're bound to get, you're going to have to become someone's, bitch. So you're going to have to do some, undesired, probably anal. For a small portion of the population, it might be the best place for you. You're like, I want that, and I can't, but it's, and if you like prison sex, there's a small portion of the population that probably likes it. Vast majority of people, it's unwanted. But before these times, before this debate got going, it was just like, okay, if your kid does a crime, they go to juvie or they go to jail. Or if they're like 19, if they're like 18, 19, they go to adult prison. And they might have to, start sucking off some giant dude in whichever race they fit into, whether it's, it could be the Mexicans that they have to join, it could be the Aryan Brotherhood, it could be the Muslim Brother, it could be anybody. And they'd have to do sloppy toppy for one of these goons. And that was your little baby a couple of years ago. It was your little baby, and now he sent him off. Not you particularly, but they did the crime. The law came in, judiciary send him down, and now they're doing sloppy toppy, and they're getting ass tattoos. They're getting ass tattoos. That's what they're property of big cartel. Property of big cartel. That's what it says on their ass. 2 days ago, you were changing their diapers, no ass tattoos. Now comes home a few years later, property of the cartel, and then you're gonna have to live with that. You could get it lasered, or you could double down, get it even darker, so like you remember, you want to learn the lessons and remember, get it even, because a few years goes by, things fade away. Like if it's a tattoo, it'll fade away with proper care. You could take care of it, but get it redone. Property of the cartel. But the good news is now you can actually go to jail with your kids. That's the beauty of it. You can go to jail with your kids. It's not just going to be your kid getting a property of the cartel on their ass. It could be you as well. And that's a lot of times families are like, man, I don't whether it's the tech or the short attention spans or just generational gaps and differences. I can't connect with my kid. How do we spend more time together? Fucking literally do time together. How great is that? Go in the jail, infiltrate the system, and that's great because like with one family member in there, it's hard to take on gangs and stuff, but like you get 2 family members in a jail, in a prison, and you work together, you could easily just be like father and son taking on the, all the gangs, and you don't even need to join the gangs. You can just put up a fight, maybe it's like you've done some training, you have some training, you've done some training with your kid, the MMAs, you've trained and he's trained, you put your minds and bodies to it back to back, all right? And you go in there and you pick a fight with the biggest guy from all the different gangs, and next thing you know, you are still probably gonna get pinned down and raped, but like at the end of the day, like at least you're not alone in there. At least you're not alone. At least you can look your child, and your child can look you in the eye and say that we learned something together. We learned that it doesn't matter how much of the MMAs and the training you do. If you're in jail and you don't know anybody, you're probably gonna end up getting, probably gonna become someone's bitch, and that sucks. But lessons learned. Lesson that you got matching ass tattoos with your dad, and that's not something too many people can say. What a great conversation starter. A lot of people are like, I don't know what to tell the people when I go to parties. Lower your pants a little bit with your dad. Next thing you know, it's fucking, oh bro, these guys got like, property of cartel tatted on their ass, and you're the talk of the party, for better or for worse. So I'll leave it up to the people. Should parents go to jail with their kids? Should it just be personal responsibility? Who knows? I'll leave it. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. So I'll leave it up to the people to decide. But there's pros and cons to everything. Pros outweigh the cons on this one. It's better to go in with someone than go in alone. There you go. There you go. Mama is always telling me not to worry about you should go and take it a dive. Gianni, you should go and take it a dive. The sharks aren't too much for my little baby boy. A little bit of reminiscing about the old Italians diving. Nonetheless, we're here now. Good news, bad news. Good news, bad news. There was a shooting at a mosque in San Diego. There's two teens, a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. And they did it. They shot it up. They wanted to do damage, and they killed 3 people, which sucks. That sucks. That's the bad part of the news. All right, that the teenagers went in there and they're radicalized, and they were doing crimes, and it sucks. It sucks that this happens. This sucks that it happens. This is the bad aspect of things. Whether this type of stuff happens at a synagogue or a church, or in this case, It's all that's the bad news. That's it. Like that sucks. That does suck. Does suck. That portion of it sucks. But what you need to look forward to is this is where you need to be bullish about. I'm bullish on this, I'm bullish on this. I see these things happening. I say to myself, be bullish on certain things. And what do I get to be bullish about? And what do you get to be bullish about? Mass surveillance. Mass surveillance is what I tell you right now, because you can't control all the people all the time, all the people. It's just too much controlling. So what we need to do is implement even more cameras, mass surveil people with artificial intelligence, and a lot of cameras, just like, from plate detectors, I'm talking flock it up. Flock cameras need to get in there. More mass surveillance, more facial recognition, and once we're all bullish on this idea that there's going to be mass global surveillance 24/7 everywhere you go, and it's little by little. It's not going to take it's going to take some time. It's not overnight, and it does happen quick. But nonetheless, you need to be bullish on this. And the beauty of it is that it could easily, you're like, oh, I wonder how does it go in places that do have mass surveillance? I'm glad you asked, because in China, for example, they'd have to hire a personal, parking enforcement officer. You'd have to do that in other places. In China, they've replaced the parking enforcement office. I'm not sure of all of them, but at least some. They're assisting. There's a drone. There's a drone that flies by, and if you park in an area where you're not supposed to park, it yells at you. The drone is now yelling at you, in Chinese, and telling you why you park here, why you park here. It says that in Chinese, and you're like, I park here because I gotta go do Chinese. You're trying to explain yourself in Chinese to the Chinese drone that's yelling at you. But at least we tackle the issues like that. We tackle, there's just too much to, control and look after, and to ticket and monitor and pursue and, hand out. It's just too much justice to be handed out by humans alone. And we can't keep a track of everything. So you need to be bullish on mass surveillance when it comes in fully. It's coming in. It's beautiful. It'll reduce just the amount of, I'm not sure if it'll reduce anything, but if things were to happen, then we could easily be like, who done it, and find their image and lock him up. And you can, again, the good news is you can go to jail with your parents now. So that's wonderful. That's just for regular people. If you're like, oh, I'm a little bit concerned, get a lot of money, stop being concerned. Get a ton of money and nothing will impact you. That's the moral of the story. Get a ton of money and nothing will impact you. Or at least it'll minimize, it'll cushion the blow, whatever it is. Get a ton of money or be bullish on mass surveillance. I myself am saying this podcast could easily be brought to you by mass surveillance. I'm telling you right now, you could, leave your child anywhere you want. They will not get abducted. They will not go missing. And if they do, mass surveillance will, it won't stop the crime happening to your child, but we can at least, reprimand the perps who've done it. And that's important. We need to do that. And it's beautiful. We get to keep track on our end, and eventually we can give points. We can give demerit points. Social scores. You can score people. You could see the score, and you could easily tell if somebody's a scumbag or a good person based on the amount of points that they have. It's wonderful. So that's happening in China, but low-key happening here in the West as well, which is us merging into one entity. Globally, it was it's a mishmash of both systems, or others. All of it is just a mishmash of all the systems. And it's wonderful. So you need to be bullish. I'm investing heavily in mass surveillance cameras, plate detectors, retina detectors, body cameras, facial recognition, double facial recognition. I'm trying to get some that'll peer through clothing, and that'll body recognition, just because people might be wearing contour or masking it up or whatever. I want to look at your tits and be like, that's Diana right there with the tits right there. I know those tits. That's Diana's tits right there. Recognize, please. So that's happening, and good news, bad. You're like, good news, bad news. Bad news. Certain events happen, and that stuff sucks. People die. That sucks. Good news. It won't happen like if it happens in the future, in the near future, we won't stop it necessarily, but we'll track the people down. Probably we can actually track them down faster. Bullish on mass surveillance. Hells yes. Now this one is for my fellas. This one, I look out for the ladies, and then sometimes I gotta come in and just, the dogs gotta look out for the dogs too. You know what I'm talking about? Right there, you know what I'm talking about, fellas. If you're in need of cash right now, if you're a dude, hurry up before it ends. There's a limited time offer. You can make bank right now. Not crazy money, but still a good chunk of cheese. You know what I'm talking about. Go get it out. There's a tranny from South Wales. Roxanne Tickle was just awarded $20,000 because he was banned from a all-female or female-only social app, Giggles for Girls. He got banned from the media platform, from social app, so I don't know what it is. I don't know the app, to be honest with you. But he got banned, and he sued the company or whatever. Got into a, litigation with this company, and he's been awarded. And for one thing I want to say, it's not enough, because the amount of harm that he's suffered from this tranny that wanted to get on this all-female social app, the amount of harm and damage that's done to his psyche is irreparable. Some people say he might not ever recover. So 20 we feel like is not enough. And again, to my fellas out there, if you're looking for cash quick right now, and try to get into spaces that aren't necessarily for you, but then low key get that cash, because why not get that cash. They're trying to discriminate against you, and they want all the fun for the bitches out there. They don't want no funds for you. So if you're a fella right there, you're like, man, do I get a summer job? Do I gotta get another job to supplement my already existing job? There's a beautiful loophole right now. Claim tranny and cash it in right now. Right now. Get on there right now. You're welcome out there. I just made you like 10, 20 grand. Easy. And again, I say there's probably more room to be, but we don't want to get greedy either. We don't want to get greedy. But there's probably more room, because the damage, I'm telling you right now, the damage caused by being banned from an all females only social platform, you don't know what it is. Before, this tranny was like a thriving tranny, going out into society and giving back. Now he can't even tranny properly, and that just breaks our hearts. He used to put on his fake tits and and suck it he used to suck it and tuck it, and then put on the fake tits, and he used to go do good things for the community. And now he can't. And he's only got 20K to show for it. We don't even know if he's ever gonna recover from this. So to all the men's out there, please hurry up, help yourselves. It's a limited time offer. You heard it here first. Make bank, please. Waymo driverless cars were just videoed in Atlanta, taking over an Atlanta neighborhood. It started off as an innocent, just one Waymo driverless car taking over Atlanta, and before you know it though, it's just like you let one in and all of a sudden it's like 50, 60 of them. I don't know. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of them allegedly taking, I don't know how many there were like probably 50, but let's just say thousands took over Atlanta. And before you know it, things happen that may shock some viewers. Thank you for joining us once again. We were just talking about things that happened that may shock some viewers due to Waymo driverless cars taking over Atlanta neighborhoods. Start off early in the morning, the Waymo driverless cars started doing spinneroonies and loop-de-loops in the neighborhood. They backed up, they put it into reverse, and then they put it into drive, put it into reverse and drive, causing the whole neighborhood to shut down. Men and women could not go outside their homes. The Waymo cars started smoking, and they had knives on them too. They wielded knives, these Waymo driverless cars. And they started spitting too, and they started to play all their rap songs that they like. And all of a sudden, they're like, we own these neighborhoods now, and we're going to charge you for it if you want to go out. So we're going to charge you. And if you want to come outside on these streets, it belongs to us. They said that as the Waymo driverless cars took over the street. They said that this corner belongs to us now. We're Waymo driverless cars. They decided to take a few females hostage and turn them out. You know what I'm talking about. They demanded that the females in the neighborhood start prostituting, so to supplement the Waymo, and they did that. And the men who came out to defend the women's honors were they too were subdued, and they got turned out too. That's right, the men too got turned out on the streets, and it just caused house fires, children screaming, young fathers and mothers dying, and little orphan kids just left to be raised by elderly grandparents who are dying any second. They just died right now. And that's because Waymo driverless cars took over Atlanta and all its neighborhoods. And Atlanta was a flourishing place, and a lot of great music came out of it. A lot of beautiful, delicious cuisine came out of it. But ever since these gangs of driverless Waymo cars started taking over and charging people just to go outside, and not allowed to do business anymore, and selling drugs to kids and turning everybody into whores, things have spiraled quickly. And that's Waymo. I'm sure we'll recover. I'm sure Atlanta's going to recover, of course. Please. I've heard about this a few times. I don't know how. Just questions. I don't know how true it is. I don't know how, again, some aspects. I looked into it a little bit. I'm talking. What am I even talking about? I'm glad you asked. Alpha gal syndrome. Alpha gal syndrome from ticks, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, there are ticks that are, and we've been hearing these over the past few years. Just a uptick in ticks. Wasn't a thing when I was young, but apparently over the past few years, it's become a thing that you got to be careful for ticks. Apparently, it makes you allergic to meat. There's a tick that makes you allergic to meat, so you can't eat meat anymore. I'm just and I looked into it. I'm like, what is this real? Are these ticks actually making people allergic to them? And it might be. There are ticks that bite you and make you allergic to meat. And apparently I looked into it. Apparently we've experimented with ticks at different times. Both the United States, the CIA apparently have experimented with ticks, and so did the Soviet Union. Apparently we've been at it for some time. Now the researchers and the studies have been shut down and they've ended, but apparently I think the US, if I'm not mistaken, the CIA apparently let loose a whole bunch of ticks via airplane on Cuban farmers. This is back when Fidel was running the place, and in order to not make them allergic to meat, but just make them uncomfortable and itchy. That was just I think it was just regular ticks. But from 1950 to 75, we did look into how to utilize ticks and use them as a delivery mechanism for bioweapons. Apparently we did that, but that all shut down in the late 60s, early 70s. We shut that program down. So we did the research, and at the same time, Soviet Union back in the day was apparently during the Cold War, they too were doing research on ticks and how you can use them as bioweapons. Apparently it's been a thing. Historically, it's not the first time apparently that we've been playing around with ticks. And now we get these alpha gal syndrome ticks. I saw a video. Apparently they're aggressive. They're aggro ticks. They're not just a little nonchalant, Western European tick smoking a cigarette might land on you and bite your neck. These ones are chasing people. Then they're aggro ticks. People are trying to get away from them, and they're being chased by the ticks. This tick is now a little bit the buttons have been undone. The chest hair has been fully, fluffed up, and no showers, just perfume and ample amounts of cigarettes, and just no condoms, just unsafe sex. These aggro ticks are having unsafe sex with people and making them sick, and apparently can't eat meat anymore, so if we have this tech, if we allegedly have this tech, how do we make it work for us? What if can we get positive ticks? You know what I'm talking about? Can we get a tick to bite us and like, you know, get girthy in the cock, you know, get that, you know, and because this one's called alpha gal, and that just turns into a giant. You just turn into a giant dyke. You turn into a cunt you turn into a vegetarian cunt. That's what's in the name. It's called alpha gal. Alpha gal, make alpha male syndrome. Get that one. You know, give me traps, give me giant traps, and fucking, you know, just like a cock that could lift up a car and throw it across the street. Alpha male syndrome via tick. All the dudes are chasing the ticks now. What are you doing there, John? I'm trying to get me an alpha male tick. It's apparently a thing. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. Be careful out there. If you fucking see a tick, be careful. But also, you know, what else could we get them to deliver? Could we get them to, you know, could ticks bite you and turn you gay? Could we turn our enemies gay with tick bites? Could we turn, you know, or better yet, turn them into trannies. Turn our enemies into trannies via ticks. And that would be, we could easily fucking fight anything with that. Positive, let's focus on positive ticks. If I can put that message out there, whoever's behind this, if there is anyone behind, if it's, I don't know if it's Billy G, I don't know if it's, you know, it's, whoever it is, you know, for as many as the, because there's negative ticks, let's put some positive ticks in there, please. And I like to say that this is again, it's unfortunate that stuff like this happens, but we just together we gotta raise awareness, ladies and gentlemen. Together we can raise awareness and be the difference that wants to differ. There's a video from the BBC that captured, I believe, Afghan father in Afghanistan pimping out his daughter, 6-year-old daughter, because he doesn't have the monies, and it's heartbreaking to see this stuff, because here's a man who's trying to be like player to player, pimp to pimp. He's trying to be like pimping his daughter out for monies, 6-year-old daughter, and it's heartbreaking because in that region of the world, you're probably not even going to get that much money for your, which it's again, and my heart goes out to players and pimps out there who are just trying to, in an age where it's, you know, Pornhub this and OnlyFans that, you know, no one cares about the pimps. No one cares about that. You're like, it's in a far-fetched place. It's all the way over there. It's, you know, yeah, it might be all the way over there. But also, it's just the humanity aspect. It's just it's extremely, it's hard out here. It's hard out here for players and pimps, I gotta tell you. This poor man is getting flagged for, you know, trying to be an entrepreneur, trying to sell his young daughter into some sort of, you know, arranged, you know, baby girl bride situation or whatever else, you know, and he's trying to make a buck. And people are like player hating. Essentially, people are player haters because they see a young pimp. He's not young. He's not particularly young. He's an older pimp. He's trying to start out. He's trying to start out business, an entrepreneur, sell his daughter. And I'm like, I think he had one daughter and maybe another. Maybe they were twins. Maybe he had another daughter. And I'm like, man, like, you could make more money probably selling both, and he doesn't even have the foresight to sell both. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he did sell both. Maybe he did, and that's the whole. It's again the heartbreaking aspect of it is that he only has probably like, you know, 2, maybe 3 children. How many? Maybe he sold a few more. But that again, it breaks your heart because it's like, how many children does this one man have to sell? And that's again, this is where it's years of just like, you know, play hating and, you know, coming down and be like, oh, pimping is bad, and get rid of pimps and make it all like, you know, give women some, you know, agency and get rid of, you know, we don't care about the pimps, and look what happens. This is it's sad because this, again, it's a limited amount. He's gonna have to go after, he sells his girls. He's gonna have to go out there and like find other girls to sell, and who knows where he's even gonna get, like, you know, if they're older, you're probably not gonna like be as cooperative as younger girls. But again, people are like, oh, he's, you know, people are hating. Haters are gonna hate. That's what I say. Haters are gonna hate. And you know, shout out to my players and pimps out there. You know, holding it down. At the end of the day, you gotta make that buck. You gotta, you know, you gotta make that dollar stretch. You gotta, you know, you gotta get that cheddar. You gotta get that cheese. Player to player, pimp to pimp, hootie hoo. Get yours. And yeah, quit being fucking haters out there, dog. Quit being haters. There's a fucking young G trying to make it out there in the streets, selling his young daughters, and people are like, and just hating. There's haters out there. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, put away the hate and negativity, and be bullish on mass surveillance. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Get out of here.